It's not about making 80,000. We're a $1.6 million construction company. That $80,000, while it's a goodly amount of money, that isn't going to make or break us. It's setting up, getting the right customer, and it's automatically setting you up for success.
Hey guys, Todd here from ConstructionLeadingEdge.com. And if you're a home builder or a remodeler or even a commercial general contractor doing smaller projects, is it possible to get paid for estimates? Is it possible to get paid for pre-construction work when you've been doing it for free for years and it seems like everybody else in your market is giving it away for free? You may also be wondering what sort of problems are being caused by that practice of free estimates. What's in it for your customers to get paid, for you to get paid for estimates? It's probably pretty obvious what's in it for you to get paid for estimates if you think it's possible. And what might happen when you decide to end the practice of giving away free estimates, like so many of the builders and remodelers and commercial GCs that we work with have done? Well, up next is an interview with Bobby Williams. He's the owner of BGW Construction in Indiana, and he's going to answer those questions. What's in it for you to do it? What's in it for your customers to pay you? Is it even possible? And then what are some of the side effects that happen when he decided to end the practice of free estimates? So you'll also hear about some of the surprising results that Bobby and his team have seen since they decided to end the practice of free estimates and get paid for estimates. So that's coming up in just a minute. But if you're a custom home builder, or if you're a remodeler, or you're a commercial general contractor doing smaller projects, and you'd like to learn how to get paid for estimates, if you'd like to learn how to get paid for pre-construction work and eliminate all the problems caused by free estimates and enjoy all the benefits that come along with getting paid for estimates, there's a free training available that I haven't done in several years. It's simply titled Get Paid for Estimates. And you can go to constructionleadingedge.com/get paid. That's constructionleadingedge.com/GETPAID. And here's what you're going to learn. You'll learn why your ideal customer wants to pay for pre-construction work, because it's in their best interest. And it's really not hard to sell them on it when you're clear on just a few things, when you know how to explain the value of it. You'll also learn the 5 pieces that you need to have in place so you can finally get paid for estimates. And you'll uncover several profit bleeds that you may not be aware of, that when you dig into them are caused by doing free estimates. The root cause of a lot of the problems, a lot of the profit bleeds, a lot of the chaos in your business can be traced back to 2 words: free estimates. So you can register for that free training over at constructionleadingedge.com/get paid, GETPAID. This is an absolute game changer. It has revolutionized hundreds of businesses that we've worked with in the last few years. And I would also say it's very difficult, maybe even impossible, to grow your business unless you're getting paid for estimates. So go check out that free training, learn how to do it. There's also, I'm going to be giving away some interesting bonuses in that training. So check that out, constructionleadingedge.com/get paid. Now, here's my conversation with Bobby Williams, owner of BGW Construction. All right, Todd DeWald here from Builder Masterclass, and I'm here with Bobby Williams. Bobby, thanks for taking the time to do this. Give us a brief intro of what kind of work you do, how long you've been in business, and where you're located, just to give folks an idea of who you are and what you do.
My name is Bob Williams. I'm an owner of BGW Construction out of Plainfield, Indiana, which is central Indiana, just about 20 minutes outside of Indianapolis on the west side by the airport. And I've been in the construction industry for about 20 years. A big part of that, it was kind of a side hustle while I was teaching. I was a senior English teacher at a 5A program here in Indianapolis, Plainfield area. I retired from teaching in 2015. And, whenever you go from being a side hustle to an actual business, it's a much different thing. You're worried about leads coming in. You're worried about people, tire kickers that waste your time. And it took me a while to wrap my mind around how do I fix this. And I read several books and took several classes. And I really latched on to you, Todd, and Spencer, and a lot of the programs that you guys offer. I think we've paid for several of your classes, and it's just been fantastic for us to learn how to make it a business, and not, you just don't own your job, right? It's a business. We picked up on the getting paid for estimating. We loved the concept, but we're very skeptical of whether or not people here in central Indiana would be willing to do that. And we tinkered around with it for about a year, and then we just went full on in the middle of last year, right around the pandemic, which was, for us, and as we're a residential remodel contractor, we don't build new houses. We do all remodels, from outdoor spaces, kitchens, bathrooms, but then also we've got a $500,000 full-on home renovation going on an 1890s farmhouse right now. It takes so much time, as we all know, to put the quote together and to do your due diligence. What we found was when we weren't getting paid, we weren't putting the time into it. We're trying to get it done as quickly as possible. And so we were inaccurate. So those inaccuracies, we either ate because it was clearly our fault, or it turned into a change order. And then the customer's like, well, how come you didn't think about this? And, they don't want to accept the fact, well, we didn't put the time into it that we should have. So when we went full time with that, and we didn't do it nearly as effectively as this class that I just finished, the getting paid for estimating class, we learned kind of the hard way. If I'd have taken this class a year ago, I think we would have did it a lot better. But still, be that as it may, last year, and I was our lead salesman, our only salesman for the company. Jason would help a little bit. We have another guy that does our project management. He's an accountant by trade. And we all kind of would share the load with sales, but it was mostly fell on my shoulders. And I think last year we sold around $30,000 in what we call design agreements, what we're going to start calling pre-construction services agreements. And then we've just gotten better at that process. This class has helped arm us with language and, sort of sales techniques to further sell it. And so this year, I think 6 months in, half a year in, we're at about $40,000 in sales agreements. So if that trend continues, and I think we're getting better, because I just finished the class, and this class kind of gave us some better ways of doing it. So we're on track to potentially do $70,000 or $80,000 in pre-construction agreements. That pays for my sales guy that I hired in the fall of last year, and then some. And those are things that 3 years ago, 4 years ago, we were doing for free. All of these things that we're doing now, we're getting paid for. We were doing for free, but now, because we're getting paid, we don't mind spending a little bit more time, and we have more time, because the customers that aren't interested in signing this pre-construction agreement, and we tell them, as tactfully as possible, that if you aren't willing to pay for this, then we're not going to spend any more time thinking about your project. And it's nothing offensive. We just need to focus on the people that had dedicated money towards us.
So what were some of the biggest problems that you were dealing with that this solves for you, that going through the switching to the pre-construction services agreement? Well, let me put it this way. What were some of the biggest problems that free estimates were causing for you? Whether it's, you mentioned change orders, having to eat costs, but what are some of if you had to list some of the biggest problems that free estimates were causing you, what would you say they were?
The biggest irritation, it's when I was a teacher, we used to say that teaching would be fun if it weren't for the students, right? And now that we're contractors, we say that contracting would be fun if it weren't for the clients. Both are incredibly necessary. So you try to identify and pick out the great clients. And so we approach the construction industry like we did when we were varsity football coaches. Jason and Kevin and I were also varsity football coaches at that high school. And you identify the players that you want to go to war with on Friday night. And those are the guys that you're going to put out there to succeed. The guys that don't put in the time in the off season, that aren't good practice players, all of those all of those things, all of those characteristics, you can do that with your customer base. And a big red flag is if somebody's not even willing to pay for the value of doing designs and putting together an accurate quote and finding out what this project is going to cost and dating you for a little bit. I say that to customers all the time. Look, this is a great opportunity. There's no commitment that you're going to hire us as a construction company. You're going to get value from it, and we get a chance to date. You get to decide if you like working with us. We hope that we've seduced you by the end of this process to hire us. But if not, then we can both go our separate ways, and you still get a value. You get a design, you get materials list, all these different things, your selections. And so to answer your question, it's a long way around because I was an English teacher, so I'm a long-winded guy. but to answer your question is, it solved a problem because we don't deal with those obnoxious customers as much. The people that are cheapskates that are looking for the cheapest price. If they're looking for the cheapest price, they're not spending $3,000 to $5,000 on a pre-construction agreement, and that's fine. You might find somebody, and you're willing to go through the pain and the headache of dealing with unprofessional people, but it sort of just naturally sets you up to deal with customers that want a professional company. And that's the biggest, I would say that's the number one thing that I would encourage anybody watching this. If you're hesitating to start asking for money to do the expert work that you're doing, you're an expert. And if you're not getting paid for it, then people are taking advantage of your time. And so we try to leave by 3:34 sometimes on slow days. I mean, we're here early, but we want to be home and be with our families. We don't work weekends. And so we're not taking calls from people that are expecting to steal our time. These are people that immediately they're showing a willingness to pay you for your professionalism and expertise.
Yep. So my next question is what are the ripple effects of this? Now that you're not wasting time with obnoxious customers, not wasting time on estimates that don't go anywhere, like what are some of the side effects of having this time? What is that doing for you?
Well, we can spend more time getting accurate quotes together, and I already sort of addressed that a little bit. But that's a huge. I don't want to minimalize that importance, because the more accurate our quotes are, the happier our customers are going to be. Before, during, and after. We always say we want to get a hug with that last check. Now after COVID, we want to get a good fist bump after that last check. But we don't want people to hate us. Right. We try to stay within a 5 to 10 mile radius of our. So we're working where we live. And we don't want people to avoid eye contact with us because we've done shitty work. And so that allows us to be the professionals that we want to be. So another effect of it is, because we go through the detail of the design, the selection process, all of those things, change orders really, if they happen, the customer comes to you and they say, hey, I know this is going to cost me more money, but because they recognize that you tried to get them to think of everything, and you can't possibly think of everything, especially 1890s farmhouse. You're going to miss some stuff, and they recognize that because you spend weeks getting to know them, and they understand how hard you're working to try to get it as accurate as possible. I can't remember if it was you, Todd, or Spencer in another class. Maybe it was one of the master's classes that we took, made the comment, and I thought it was very good, that, hey, do you want to find out what this project is going to cost now before you start, or do you want to find out during what it's going to cost? And so you can pay a little bit of money now and find out that you need to save up for another year, or you can be in the middle of the thing where we've got you trapped and you're going to have to finish it, and then you go out and get another loan or borrow money or whatever. So
yeah, and nowadays there's the whole issue of price increases, material availability. The lumber prices are coming back down out of orbit now, but there's still, I hear stories all the time of stuff that's on back order for 4 months, discontinued in the middle of a project, and you don't want to find that stuff out in the middle of a remodel. So
and to your point, during that selection process, we're getting lead times. And so we can tell them, hey, I know you love this farmhouse sink, but just keep in mind that our supplier just told us that this is 6 months back ordered. Yeah. Let's go to a different direction so that we don't run into that. And it does. If your goal as a contractor is to not be one of the one of the streaks in the underwear out there, right? One of the freaking, you know, I mean, I was a football coach, so forgive my language, but one of the shitheads out there that doesn't really they're out there to make money. They don't understand how to be a professional. They don't necessarily care to get a 5-star rating or to be the best of the best. If that's you, then this probably isn't the right class for you if you don't give a crap. But if you give a crap and you want to be a professional, then it's okay to ask to get paid for that. And people, every time I've raised my prices, we've gotten more busy. Every time we've added something like this, there are people out there that they will pay for that experience. They will pay for the fact that they want a professional to guide them through it. And so you get rid of the DIYers, the people that think they can do it themselves, which are huge headaches. You know, I used to hate the engineers, but they've actually loved this process because it caters to their OCD. And then it becomes, it's not when they ask stupid questions, it's not because they're questioning you, they're just curious. And so it sort of sets up that education, and it gets rid of the Google warriors, the people out there that they go on YouTube and they're like, well, whenever I watched this, YouTube told me I should do it this way. And it immediately sets you as the contractor up as the expert. We're going to walk you through this. And if you can, and I love the word I already told you, Todd, the indoctrination, that, hey, we're the experts. You're getting on the train that we're driving, and you're going to be a passenger. Now you're paying for the train, you're paying for the materials, you're paying for the gas, you're paying for me to drive the train, but we are in charge. And you sort of get them ready for that. Now if you're going to put yourself on that pedestal, you better freaking deliver. And so that's the company that we want to run. And that all that helps this. And the things from this class just gave us a little bit more language and armed us with a little bit more value add on how to sell these design agreements. Because at the end of the day, it's not about making a little money. It's not about making $80,000. We're a $1.6 million construction company. That $80,000, while it's a good amount of money, that isn't going to make or break us. It's setting up, getting the right customer, and it's automatically setting you up for success.
Yeah, it's interesting. I talked to one of my clients. He's a custom home builder who's switched over to the pre-construction services agreement process. And he said, Todd, I hear you talking about get paid for estimates, and we do that and we charge, but I'm really not that interested. He's building like 15 custom homes in a lake community at a time. It's like, I'm really not that interested in getting paid for the pre-construction work. Doesn't really move the needle that much. It's dramatically increases our closing rate with the people. By the time we get to the end of that process, it's generally hours to walk away from. We get to filter out the crazies and the drama queens and find out if they're Google warriors, closet attorneys, retired OCD, anal retentive engineers that we just don't want to work with. And so all of these other benefits that have little to do with getting paid are really the big benefits for him.
I couldn't agree more with that. And I can give you some numbers to back that up from our experience. We were hoping to land 30% of our leads, which we never did. I mean, if we'd get 10 leads, we might land, by the time we went through everything, 1 or 2 of them, because of those 10 leads, 8 of them were idiots, that we were wasting our time with. I shouldn't say idiots, but that's how we call them. People that they want a 50,000. They've got a gold taste, but a copper pocketbook. They're people that really, they love Pinterest, but they don't have the money to spend. They don't realize that a kitchen is going to cost $75,000 and they've only got 20 that they think that they're going to spend. So we would land 1 or 2 out of every 10. So 10 to 20% of our leads. Now I don't even count the leads that come in. To me, that's like taking a ball, whenever you're up at the plate. We don't care about those. What we count are the ones that we actually swing at. And we're probably landing 70 or 80% of the jobs that they actually pay us money to do the quote, the pre-construction services. Because for everything that you just said, if we do our job right, and because we try to give them a ballpark estimate. I don't want to take their money if they're $20,000 for a $75,000 kitchen. Hey, you're looking at spending 50 to 75 here. And if they don't balk at that, and we can we can keep them contained as we design that kitchen and keep them within the selection process to keep them in that 50 to 75. They're going to hire us. They're going to hire us. And so not only has it increased our amount of money coming into the company just in selling design agreements, it's increased our closing rate because we're not dealing with the bottom 20% of people. We're shooting for that 80-20 principle. We want that top 20%. And we hope to be the top 20 of the top 20%, right? That's the clientele that we aim for.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the biggest questions people have, like the number one question that people have who've never tried this but want to, their question is, how can I possibly do this? How can I charge for estimates when all of my competition is giving them away for free? And how would you respond to that question?
Do you want to be like your competition? I think what we've seen is we're not like our competition. And in our there is an underserved part of your clientele in your community. I don't care where you are. In that class that we were just taking, there were some people from New Zealand and Europe, and I've got some friends in the UK. And they, one of them used to own a construction company, and I was talking to him about this process. We stay connected. He now sells, or he now runs like a holiday company for people like to rent houses, but he loved the idea. And he said, man, well, they don't do that here, but that's a great process. If I ever got back in the construction environment, I would do that. And it sets you apart. And so I don't believe in competition. I don't want to bury all my competition. I just don't really want to compete with them. I think that we do superior work. And I think that we're a different kind of company. And they can take all the dregs that are going to be time wasters. And I mean, I know a couple jobs here locally within a 5-minute drive of where I'm sitting, where we walked away from the job. We actually handed money back on a kitchen to a guy that was just such a headache. We didn't even want to finish the design agreement. So we said, hey, we're not the right company for you. Here's your $1,000 back or whatever it was. And then one of my former students, who is a pretty successful contractor, he got the job, and I just kind of chuckled. I wonder if you even made any money with that asshole. And that's what I would tell anybody. Who cares what your competition is doing? Don't compare yourself to competition. You as an individual want to decide how you want to run your company, and let them follow you, and they'll figure it out. They'll start. Wouldn't it be great if you set a precedent and then everybody started doing the design agreements, and now it becomes the standard? And that would be better for it. What's your goal, man? Is your goal to just get as many jobs as you can, or is it to make the industry better? And if we can all get on the same page and start charging, it will make the industry better. And that's the goal, is to give people a great opportunity. That's what competition has done in Walmarts and Best Buys and things like that. You've got plenty of options to choose from, and you basically get the same experience everywhere. It's just who does it better. Well, we want to be the Chick-fil-A of the fast food restaurants, right? We want to be the company that everybody goes to, and they know they're going to get great, superior service, really good food, and it's going to be fast. And that's what we want to do. So Chick-fil-A does it totally different than McDonald's. You think they're looking at McDonald's saying, oh, we need to hire the dregs and give them, and do a terrible job. They don't want to care what they're doing. We're going to do it our way. So that's what I would say.
Yep. Love it. Yeah. Don't try to be the best. Try to be the only. That's what I like.
Right. Yeah. It's harder to be the best. It's easy to be the only.
Yeah, definitely. So we've talked about some of the results you've seen from switching over to the pre-construction services agreement. You just finished up the Get Paid for Estimates Masterclass. What would you say that you like the most about the Get Paid for Estimates Masterclass?
As I said, we've already been selling our design services agreement. And so I think what I picked up the most, it would have been, I wish I had taken it a year ago. I don't even know if you were offering it a year ago, but it's like every class I take with you guys, and this is a general statement. It's nice to have other people that are struggling through the industry and see how they respond and the questions that they have. So you always pick up, anytime you can surround yourself with other people in the industry, and you don't have to worry about, letting somebody that you're competing against hear what you're struggling with. You can be totally naked and transparent. And so I really liked that. I know that's not specific to your class, but if somebody's listening to this that has never taken a class, it's absolutely worth I don't know what you're going to charge for it, 1,000 or 1,500, whatever it is. It's absolutely worth, it's a drop in the dime for that education. And I mean, we're the most overeducated contractors probably on the planet. I think between the three of us here, there's like 7 college degrees, so, and none of us are using our college degree, right? And so it's twist our arm. We're happy to be lifelong learners. But I picked up so many, it's the small little nuanced things. I love your phrase, I'm going to indoctrinate my clientele. You just pick up on so many different things. You're the expert. We're the expert. I want to set my customer up arm them with the information that I want them to hear and that I want them to believe, so that whenever they call another contractor out and they don't offer pre-construction services, their question isn't, well, why is BGW wanting to charge? Their question to them is, well, why don't you do this? It's all that, it's sort of changing your brain and just picking up on, it can work. Of course it can work. It makes complete sense. And it's just the organized structure of how to take that through. And I'm a bit of an OCD guy, or an ADD guy. Jason's our OCD guy. So narrowing things down into a process for me, that's what I need. And that's what is very helpful about this. It simplifies kind of a big concept and it says, hey, do this, 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 and this, and it'll probably work. And I can tell you it does work.
So one of the comments I think you made during one of the last live calls we had was I showed this graphic, this chart that had a line graph, and you said, I sent it to my sales guy and told him to use it. And part of that was part of one of the scripts. How valuable did you find those scripts to be?
We didn't use everything in that script.
Mm-hmm. What did you guys use? What did you take out of that worked well for you?
Well, it's every company is different and every customer asks different questions. So it's sort of the script that you give, if you look at it and it becomes mechanical and you go through it as if it were a script, it feels salesy. And one of the things that my philosophy is, I don't want to be a salesman. I don't want to beg people. I don't want to pressure people. I'm not going to, here in Indy, they've got a company called Unique Home Solutions. I think it's a national company. I don't know if you guys have I think there's one in Cincinnati, Todd, but there's nothing wrong with their model. It's a completely different model than ours, but their salesmen go in there and they start out, okay, your roof is going to cost, $60,000. And then they read the room, right? And they can really do the roof for 20. And if you sit there and wait long enough, they're going to lower that price, because at the end of the day, they want to make a sell. And we don't want, not only do we not want to give that impression, we don't want to be that company. We're going to tell you what it's going to cost. This is what it is. There's no negotiation. And so that sales script, there's so many nuggets of information that you get from this class. And that sales script is one of them. And that chart that you gave, which if I remember right, the chart was like a bar graph, and it was a time was on the bottom, and then price was on the top side. And the earlier you make a decision, the less time it's going to take, and the less money it's going to take. But as you move down that bar graph, then and it's just a really good representation to show your customer that we want to get all the decisions made right here. And so, to your point, that chart is such a power. There's lots of little. We can all, obviously I'm a long talker, that's why my salesman is better than me, because he's very brief and can get right to the point of things. If I had a chart like that, I could just say, look, this is what this means. People see it, and we are all visual learners. We all learn from a various different way. And that's what this class does. It's like I've read books that have that chart in it, but it's all of these different strategies are in one place. And so I can, it just sort of puts everything organized, there's nothing radical about what you're teaching, Todd, with all due respect. There's nothing radical. It's in about 5 different books that I've read, mm-hmm. But you've sort of taken the best parts of each of those books and really condensed it, and as a guy that's probably pretty well educated in this concept of getting paid for estimates, I would pay for this class again. I would pay for my sales guy to go through it if I had to. I can let him, use the videos and everything, which is another great thing. If you've got a group of salesmen, you take the class, and I hope that's okay for me to say, Todd, you can edit this out later, but now I've got it available. Hey, Matt, watch this 15-minute portion of the last class that I took. And it's just a great teaching tool so that everybody gets on the same page. And whenever a customer calls and they want to talk to me, I know what Matt has told them, and we're on the same page.
Yep. Good stuff. If somebody called you and said, hey, Bob, look, I hear you went through this Get Paid for Estimates Masterclass. Why should I sign up for it? What would you tell them?
Besides everything that I've already said, I would say, because I would say, especially if you're starting from a blank slate, if you're starting and you don't do getting paid at all and you have no idea, that $1,000 could turn into $50,000 of revenue in the first year for stuff that you're doing for free. If somebody said that, Bob, you can take $1,000 in advertising and it's going to translate to $50,000, not $50,000 in work, but $50,000 in profit. Not $50,000 in work, but $50,000 in profit, because that's what it is, right? That's all money that didn't cost. We didn't have to buy any material for that sales price. Now it's time, but we're all paid on salary, so we're paying that anyway. Mm-hmm. So that $1,000 could probably realistically, I think I heard two other people in that class say that when they started, they were making between 30 and 40 already this year, and they just started. So, that $1,000 could translate to $50,000 in profit. That seems to be a no-brainer for me, but I was an English major, so I'm not very good at math.
Good stuff. Is there anything that I could do to make this masterclass more valuable for you?
I mean, I don't think so, but I don't have anything to compare it to. It was very valuable to me, and I'm a guy that's already doing it. I'm already doing the pre-construction services. We called it something else, and we're changing that name right now. But I don't think there would be anything necessarily that I would change. Each class is between 4. There's supposed to be an hour, but sometimes you get all the information out, and there's not a whole lot of questions. Which, as a teacher, that means you did a good job of teaching, right? Here's the agenda of what we're going to try to get through today. You go through it, and if there's not a lot of questions, it's like, yeah, makes total fucking sense. Let's move on. And we're all busy, so we're not going to waste time with silly questions. So I don't know that there's anything that I would change about what you guys are doing.
Fantastic. Good stuff. Well, congratulations on your success, and look forward to hearing about how things continue to progress for you. And I really appreciate you taking the time to be on here and for being part of the Get Paid for Estimates Masterclass and all the other stuff you guys have gone through, Mud.
Yep, absolutely. We really appreciate what you guys are doing for the industry and what you guys have done for us. And we found you with Co-Construct, I think, when you guys did that, and we took the Co-Construct Masterclass, which has really been fantastic for us too. So, we'll probably keep spending money getting education because we found a teacher that we like. So I appreciate it.
That's good. My pleasure, man. I really appreciate it, Bob. Thanks, man.
All right. You have a good one.
You too. Hey, Todd here again. And if you're a custom home builder, a remodeler, or a commercial general contractor doing smaller projects, and you'd like to learn how to get paid for estimates, there's a free training available that we're making available for the first time in a few years. It's simply titled Get Paid for Estimates. And you can register for that free training over at constructionleadingedge.com/get paid. GETPAID. Here's what you'll learn. You'll learn that your ideal customer wants to pay you for pre-construction work because it's in their best interest. And I'll show you how it's not hard to sell them on it when you get clear on a few things. You'll learn the 5-piece bridge that you need to have in place in order to finally get paid for estimates. You'll learn about how to sell this. You'll actually get a few questions you can ask your clients that will make them see the value in paying you for estimates. And you'll uncover some of the hidden profit bleeds on building and remodeling projects that are caused by doing free estimates. So if you are ready to end the practice of free estimates Then register for that free training. Get paid for estimates over at constructionleadingedge.com/get paid, GETPAID.